All Things Black with Garland and Calvin present Fanboys. Fanboys is a weekly breakdown of the sports world from a fan's perspective. Now, here are your hosts, Garland and Calvin.
All Things Black presents Fanboys. I'm Calvin. That guy right there is Garland. And we are back with another sports podcast. Man, this is our bread and butter. I'm liking this day. This is the most comfortable that I feel. And we starting to get into our flow. You know, I like this. Anyway, what's going on, sir?
I'm like magic coming down. Yeah, man, things are good, bro. Can't complain. Shout out to the crackhead who broke my window at work the other day. We was talking to Calvin about that, but it didn't stop the flow and all. But yeah, man, feeling good on the Saturday. Can't complain.
Yeah, man. I told you. So we were talking about it, and I told him how the crackhead, well, I don't even know if it's a crackhead. Somebody
Right.
broke into my car, and but the door must have been unlocked, and they took the change. Probably $2 at the most to change, but they left all the shit sitting all over the seat
That's
as
what they
if to
did to
say,
me.
lock your door. Like, dang, you don't want nobody in.
Yeah.
Luckily, I don't keep anything in the car of any real value, but I had a so my rear view camera in my old car was just a aftermarket unit, so it wasn't
Hmm.
connected to the car. They didn't take that, they ain't, so I was just like, I was fortunate,
That's how
but
they
the
do
door was
me.
unlocked, so I make sure the doors are locked now. But I guess that don't stop them if they really want to get in, so
That's how they
it
did
don't
me.
matter.
Broke the glass, and I had a coat laying on the floor. They left that cleared out. Took all everything that was hidden out, laid it on the seat, and they beat me for about $2.50, $3 worth of quarters just for some meters and stuff.
I would have taken the coat just for GP. See, that's
Yeah,
got to
that's what
make
I'm
you.
saying.
That's
That
got to
really
make
made
you
me mad.
mad.
That
You
really
be
made
like,
me mad.
so what you? So not only did you break in my
My
shit,
coat
what you
not
saying? My
good.
coat ain't in style. Like what the fuck? So
Like,
so
ew,
so you don't
rinse my
fuck with
fur.
lambskins no more. That's you.
Right.
So y'all don't wear them no more, right?
They ain't want the Pelly Pelly. I'm like, you ain't want this Pelly Pelly? This eight
They,
ball jacket? That's
that was
all
about
you
to
want?
say. They probably told their friend, man, all he had was an 8 ball jacket, and ain't nobody wearing them no more.
Heck yeah, y'all ain't want my eight ball? Y'all playing games. Eight balls was smoking back in the
Yeah,
day.
they was. They was probably looking for the puff leather. The puff leather
Right.
was my joint, y'all. Little
Right.
puff with the
Puff
little hood
love.
on it. Then you knew you was doing something if
Yes,
you got the
sir.
little 3/4 puff. And that's when the lambskins was out, the chocolate lambs,
The
the
chocolate
gray
lambs.
lambs.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. They ain't want my Pelly Pelly. So that's all good. They ain't want
They
the
was
Helly
looking for that.
Hansen.
They was looking for that Nike Tech gear. Speaking of Nike Tech, I was going to buy some Nike Tech one time, and I
Uh-huh.
saw it said $200, and I was like, all right, well, $200 for a sweatsuit. I guess that might be the going rate. That was
Right.
just for the jacket. The pants was another like 125. I was like,
That's all
oh
games.
no.
Nah.
Let me go to Walmart and get this Russell. Walmart got the
Right.
knockoff Reebok now too.
They
So you
do?
know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah, man. Hey,
Yeah.
like
Champion.
Garland
The
said, you want
champion
some
gear.
financial
They
advice,
do.
you know what I mean? Holla at your boy, because I can tell you, go to
That's
Walmart, get one of them great value sweatsuits. They work just as well.
financial planning from Calvin Coates. I keep on telling y'all, a couple episodes we talked about this financial planning from Calvin Coates. You ain't know,
Hey
now you
man,
know.
what we got going on today?
Bro, let's get into it. The NFL, even though it's supposed to be the off season, the NFL season never ends. And so, man, we're going to talk about last night big trade after we had already solidified what we are going to talk about. Had to go back in and throw it in the notes, talking about the Bears trade, and we're going to talk about the franchise tag and Lamar, and it's a lot of different opinions out there, and I'm sure y'all want to hear ours. And so we're going to dive deep into that. Your boy Ja, he about to fumble the bag, Ja Morant. So we're gonna talk about old boy and a couple things that's going on with him. Your boy KD3 look like he's gonna be out for the next couple weeks. And a blast from the past, Sean Kemp. We're gonna talk a little bit about Kemp Rain Man. That was his
Rain
nickname,
Man.
Rain Man. So we're gonna talk and we ain't talking the movie, and then we're gonna close up with some "Come On Yo." And so let's go ahead and talk about the NFL trade. As reported by Adam Schefter, the Chicago Bears are trading the number one pick in the 2023 draft to the Carolina for 4 draft picks and wide receiver DJ Moore. The Bears will receive Carolina's first round 61st pick, which is a late second round, a 2024 first round selection, and a second round pick. This trade on the Lamar Jackson sweepstakes. Just any initial thoughts about that? I'll save it when we get into Lamar and talk about this because I know this was one of the teams that I was considering that would be in the Lamar sweepstakes.
Well, I mean, I'm not even thinking about Lamar. I'm just like, Carolina, what are you doing? Like,
They want that number one pick.
they gave up. I know
Up.
Chicago. Did Chicago wear a mask and point a 22 at you or something? Because Chicago straight manhandled them. I
Maybe
mean,
they had Otis Perry doing that. Maybe
something.
Otis.
I mean, the draft picks are one thing, but DJ Moore also.
Dude, I
Like,
made this deal.
DJ Moore is not a bad receiver. He just didn't have any quarterbacks in Carolina. And even the ones that he had, he played very well. DJ Moore also. I know the Lions, the Vikings, and especially the Packers are like, what the fuck? So now y'all done put Chicago as a contender in the division now. It, all they have to do now, just the quarterback just needs to stay healthy. And he's like Lamar Light, you know what I mean? And he can play, he can throw. He needed a receiver because Chase Claypool didn't pan out for him in that midseason trade. But yeah, Carolina, what are you doing? Like, I don't know if they're tanking for Lamar or if they're just tanking because they don't like to be in Carolina. Do they want to move the franchise somewhere? Like, what is going on? That's a lot.
A bold move for a team who actually surprisingly played well last year and was in the hunt for the NFC South. But they're saying, hey, one of those top 3-4 quarterbacks in the draft, someone we want. We got a quarterback guru and Frank Reich. And we want to get someone in development. Drafted a couple quarterbacks, so hey,
I hope it's worth it because that they gave up. They literally gave up the future. But like I said, the draft picks are one thing, but when you give up DJ Moore on top of that, they must be going all draft this season. Sure. They have to be going.
Maybe this is a total rebuild. I mean, hey, we find more value in the draft, and if that number one pick is worth that much, how much is Lamar worth? So let's keep on talking. All right, the Saints, they signed Derek Carr, and Seattle signed Geno Smith to multiple-year deals, and so there was a big opening there. It was going to the Jets, but he did not. He wound up signing with the Saints, and Geno winds up getting that with the Seahawks. And so what seemed like a stopgap last season is actually turned out to be going to be their starting quarterback. And the Giants on Tuesday, they signed quarterback Daniel Jones to a 4-year contract. His deal is worth $160 million with $82 million guaranteed at signing. The deal includes up to $35 million in incentives. That was also a big deal. The Giants wound up tagging another one of their best players, and we'll talk about that in a minute. Danny Dimes, he earned an additional contract, and maybe that's more so due to the other Brian Dayball as opposed to Danny Dimes and all. So, any quick thoughts about that signing?
Yeah, I think, well, actually, for all the signings, I think they were good for all parties. Definitely that Saints signing. So Derek Carr was rumored to go to Jets, as you mentioned. But as soon as they rumored that, I was like, is he kidding me? Why not go to the NFC South, who none of the teams have a quarterback? You can go to the NFC South with the Saints team that has a good defense. You have a Chris Olave. You still have Kamara. I don't know if Kamara, he got to go to coordinating, and we'll see what happens there. But you still have a decent team. They just need a quarterback, and you can easily win that division. So that was a good move for him. Good move for the Saints. Danny Dimes earned that money. He definitely earned it. He played well last year. And like you said, Dayball was probably like, no need to mess with this. We were in the running. We made the playoffs. We were, so they did well. So, yeah, all good signings.
All good signings.
Not mad at it. The only, well, we'll talk about Lamar. So there's a connection. There's a connection for me with Danny Dimes and Lamar.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Also, Piano of ESPN, the Jets have had conversations with the Packers and quarterback Aaron Rodgers this week regarding potential trade of the four-time MVP. Sources, a contingent of Jet team officials, including the owner, Woody Johnson, general manager Joe Douglas, head coach Robert Sala, and offensive coordinator Nathaniel Hackett flew to California on Tuesday to meet in person with Rodgers, and it's unclear whether the meeting will ultimately result in a trade. And so, what do you think is going to be the future of Rodgers there? I mean, they're putting on the full court press. I've heard some rumors that because Miami cleared a lot of cap space as well, they did some maneuvering with players' salaries there, that maybe Miami is also in the mix for Rodgers as well. And so, do you think Rodgers is going to stay out there in Green Bay, or is he going to go?
So if I'm Aaron Rodgers, why not get you're at the end of your career? Why not just go somewhere else and see what you can do? What more are you going to be able to do in Green Bay? Because Green Bay is definitely in rebuilding mode. He's the only
Sure.
thing that's really not rebuilding there. All the receivers are pretty new rookie receivers. They did have Lazard. I think Lazard has been moved this year. I don't think he signed his. I don't think he signed. I think he's a free
Yeah, he's
agent
free
now.
agent. Hmm.
But yeah, I mean, what's the harm? You carved out a legacy in Green Bay that'll never be denied. You're not being forced out. You can do it on your own terms. So yeah, why not move on? The Jets would be a great spot to move on. The Jets are ready to win now. Their only issue would be the Bills, and we saw with the Bills last year that they can definitely be beat with a good defense. So yeah, why not go to the Jets? I can see that happening and play well. Miami, I, I don't think Miami is built for a quarterback like Brett Favre, like Aaron Rodgers.
Right, right.
I just don't think they're built
Hmm.
for a quarterback like Aaron Rodgers. With all the speed that they have on the field, they need a guy that can also scramble. And Aaron Rodgers can scramble, but Tua actually moves. And I just think they
Right.
need a little more of a flexible quarterback. Now, when it comes to accuracy, he would be killer for Tyreek and Jalen Waddle and Gasecki. He'd be killer for them,
Yeah.
but I just don't think he fits in their scheme. But you never know. They were thinking about Tom Brady, and I think Aaron Rodgers is more mobile than Tom Brady, so you just never know.
Right.
But I would
I,
pick the Jets if I were him.
yeah, I always say, and I think I said it last week when we talked about Aaron Rodgers, playing in New York is a different deal than playing in Green Bay in terms of the media scrutiny. And so I'm sure that has to weigh heavily. I mean, yes, I know he's been the face of the league, he's been a multiple MVP, but that New York media pressure is a whole different
It's,
thing.
it's a lot.
And yeah, these going on these darkness retreats and taking and all this up. They call him ayahuasca Aaron now, and so doing all these weird things. And hopefully you will be ready if you're gonna go to New York. You got to be ready for that. Miami, that's an interesting. It's very interesting. I
It
mean,
really
hey,
is.
it's always interesting for Florida because there's no state income tax. Your money and going down there to play with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle and having them weapons, Gasecki. Woo! I mean that might do a little something to boost your second or your final couple years in the league. I mean, I would feel pretty good about that playing in warm
See, I
weather
don't think they
with
should
all
want
those
him. That's
weapons.
that's the thing. I
Yeah,
don't think they should want him. Like it's not him. I think it's them. I don't think
right.
they should want him. But and they also have Most Starter Speedy too
Yeah,
in the backfield. So
yeah.
yeah, man.
That's
That
yeah.
would
That's
be
right.
interesting. Now that I
Be
think
very
about it, that'd
interesting.
probably be really, really interesting. All they would need is just a halfway decent offensive line, which they do have now. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, be interesting.
Dangerous. And I want them to get in there because maybe it takes Lamar out of the picture in Miami. So we'll see. But although Miami just picked up the 5th-year option for
Right.
Tua, that doesn't necessarily mean anything, but it could have an impact as well. And so let's talk about the franchise tag. On Tuesday, teams were eligible to place the franchise tag on any player that is scheduled to become unrestricted free agent. 6 players received the non-exclusive tag this season. Saquon Barkley for the Giants, Tony Pollard for the Cowboys, Evan Ingram for the Jaguars, Josh Jacobs for the Raiders, Deron Payne for the Commanders, and of course our boy Lamar Jackson for the Ravens. The non-exclusive tag allows players to sign offer sheets from another team which their current team has 5 days to match or receive two first round picks as compensation. And so, as expected, Lamar was tagged by the Ravens, but unexpectedly received the non exclusive tag, which will pay him about 32.5 million dollars this year if he signs it. As reported by Jamison Hensley of ESPN, Baltimore and Jackson, who does not have an agent and is representing himself, have been unable to reach a long term deal since he became eligible for a contract extension over 2 years ago. Sources told ESPN last year that Jackson wants a fully guaranteed deal like the one given to Deshaun Watson last year by the Cleveland Browns. Baltimore is doing so because the team considers the Watson deal an outlier. There's been many instances across the league and in Baltimore when a player has become designated with the franchise tag and signed a long-term deal that same year with Lamar, and we are hopeful that we can strike a long-term deal that is fair to both Lamar and the Ravens general manager Eric Acosta said in a statement. Now, under the franchise tag, the Ravens and Jackson have until July 17th to work out a long term deal. If an agreement is not reached by the NFL mandated deadline, a new deal can't be signed until after the season. And so this move by the Ravens has set off a firestorm of opinions, Calvin, and allowed us as one of possible collusion amongst NFL owners not to sign Jackson because many of the teams needing a quarterback have already indicated they have no interest. So the first question is, do you think the Ravens made the right decision?
So initially, we wanted
It was
I'm not going to
exclusive
speak
and
for you,
non-exclusive.
yeah, but yeah,
I think we
initially
both said exclusive.
we
When
did,
we
yeah,
talked
we wanted
about it
exclusive.
over the last couple of weeks, we said exclusive tag.
Your opinion changes after you hear details, and then of course after you listen to other people's opinions. So it's either a very very shrewd move on the Ravens behalf, or it's just they don't want Lamar Jackson. So um I think it's a good move that the Ravens did, because what they're doing now essentially is putting the negotiations in someone else's hands. They're basically saying,
Mm-hmm.
we've tried to give you everything that we think you're worth, and we're not, it's just not getting there. So let's see what the other teams can offer you. You know what I mean? Maybe you can negotiate something with another team, and we can look at it and say, fine, we'll go ahead and match that, because there's something missing. We can't come to an agreement. Let's see if you can come to an agreement, and we'll see what that agreement is. Now, of course, the chance you're taking is that that agreement could be out of your price range, because I believe another reason they put the non-exclusive tag on them was to save that $12 million, $10 million
Right.
from the
40.
45. Yeah, and
Mm-hmm.
so and they needed that money clearly. So they're trying to save as much money as they can. So I, I think it's actually a good business move. It may not necessarily be a good roster move, because you're taking the chance of losing not arguably, definitely the best quarterback you've ever had, and arguably one of the top five players in the NFL. So you're taking a chance there, but it's a good business move. Just a big chance as far as a roster move for the Ravens, a player personnel move.
I definitely think because I was exclusive tag as well because we both have been saying they have to control the the haul that they're going to get back in the trade. You just can't put them out there just for two ones. I mean, one draft pick was worth. It was worth at least four picks in one player.
Yes.
We saw what Russell Wilson was worth. He was worth at least picks in several players. And so the whole thing of having the exclusive tag was what it can get back, just not two number ones. In hindsight, though, it is a gamble, but I think it's because it allows them to really say, hey, look, yeah, like you said, go out, people are going to give you. Go out and see if someone is going to give you a fully guaranteed. And I think the thing is, hey, they have the hammer to say we're matching. They have the choice to say, yeah, we're going to, keep you when we want to keep you. And so I think it was shrewd in the sense of one, they're doing it at a lower number, it helps them with their cap, and then Two, I think it also helps maybe move along the negotiation because they became stuck. And if okay, I put you at 45 and it's not going to move the needle, then what are we doing? And I think this kind of helps move the needle in the. Now, did Lamar make the right choice by not accepting the Ravens' offer before the tag? And I'll say this: I still question. I'm not a big over the head beater with he has to have an agent. I think an agent is important. I think an agent could him right now, but I don't know if he accurately has read the market. And I think that is what is hurting him in the sense his mind. I don't know Lamar. I heard he listens to the show, but his mind is from what all reports are reporting is that he wants a guaranteed deal. He wants the same deal or a better deal than what Deshaun Watson got. And that's not what the market is saying. The two deals after Watson's deal, um, Kyler Murray, little man, and guaranteed deals. And the deals we're going to see with Gino and with Derek Carr were not fully guaranteed deals. I don't think Burrow, I don't think the Chargers quarterback, they're not going to get fully guaranteed deals. Reading the reading the market right. I mean, it's the same thing of what happened this season. He bet on himself. Just it didn't. He didn't win that bet at the end of the season. Getting injured, missing those amount of games, not being there for the playoffs. He lost his leverage, and I just don't. I'm not sure if he's reading the market well. What's your thought?
So I don't want to say that, and the reason I'm not going to commit to saying that he wants a fully guaranteed deal is because that's what we hear, but we've also heard that
I heard
his
Stephen
camp
A.
called Stephen A and said we did not ask for fully guaranteed.
How
But I
come he
do
ain't call
believe
us?
I, I think we were busy at the time. I think we were at CIAA when that was
Yeah,
going on
yeah, yeah,
because
yeah.
I did have a
He,
couple missed calls.
yeah, I had, yeah, it was, yeah, I wasn't getting good signals in the arena, so yeah, maybe that was it.
But I do think he asked for definitely a- about as much, if not close to, the money of Deshaun Watson. Now, when you say you don't ask for fully guaranteed, we can take that as a grain of salt because he could have asked for 300 million and not ask for fully guaranteed, but wanted 250 guaranteed. You know what I mean?
Right,
So
right,
you got to kind
right,
of take that with a grain of salt. It's really hard to say. Time will tell if he made the right move. The issue that the Ravens are going to have now, and another problem is that Lamar doesn't have to sign anything until week 10 of the season. So it's you know, I just it's hard to say with Lamar. The Ravens are being handcuffed now because now you're going into free agency next week, and these guys, these free agent wide receivers that I'm sure you're going to be talking to, are going to be like, "Well, who's your quarterback?"
yeah.
Like we don't
Lamar
even
yet?
have a quarterback.
Right,
Um, you know, is it Tyler Huntley? Is it Anthony Brown? Is it somebody else? Like, who's your quarterback?
right,
Um, and then you may go into the draft saying, do I need to draft a quarterback? You know what I mean? Like, it's so difficult. I think on both ends it's just a risk. Now at the end of the day, Lamar is going to get some money, and for most of us, we're like, "Oh well, he gonna get paid within the next 2-3 years. He's gonna get what he wants, whether it's from the Ravens or whether it's from another team. He's gonna get what he wants or something very close to what he wants because you can only franchise him twice. So he'll still be under 30 years old with the opportunity to make the most money that he could." The most money that anyone could possibly make in the NFL. So you just never know. But I just hate that he's the face of this, what we think is an owner stand to say, hey, we're standing against fully guaranteed contracts. Even agents, we're standing against guys negotiating without agents.
Right.
I hate the fact that he may become the poster child. He may become the Colin Kaepernick of salaries, where they're just, I mean, you know what I mean?
Taking
Like,
a knee with a
yeah,
checkbook.
they taking a stand against them, and the fans are taking a stand against them and everything. We were at the city championship game. City 28 and
Yes, I
0
saw
Thursday
that.
night, won
Yeah,
the
you
3-8
was
Maryland
having a
State
ball. I'm
Championship.
like, Cal, I wish I went to City. Northwestern
Three,
closed, but yeah, I saw you with all your
Brandon
City
Man,
people.
Brandon Scott went wish he went to City too, but
I saw him.
that's a
Yeah, I'm
whole
like,
different
you're a Mervo
story.
dude. You need to sit down.
But we were there, and we just randomly talking, and there were a few of us. One guy said it was like, if the Ravens give up Lamar, and we were all like, the Ravens are really testing my loyalty and fandom.
All right.
And it's funny, I thought I was the only one that felt that way. It's like, I love my Ravens, but if Lamar leaves, I'm considering following Lamar. You know what I mean? Now I'm still going to be a fan of his either way, unless he goes to the Steelers. I'm still
Right.
going to be a fan of his either way, but it's one of them things where I don't know what side to take, man. I have no idea.
Yeah, I feel you. It's interesting. I was reading an article on Google Sports where they interviewed three sports agents. I'm not sure if you saw that article. And in the article, the agents were talking about, their interpretation of what was going on between the Ravens and Lamar. And basically, what they were really saying is that the agent is the person who takes all of the flack in between, that handles the relationship, and they have a way of figuring out how you can structure guarantees and give money up front and do these different things, and that they're doing a lot of work at the combine. They do. I didn't hear any reports of Lamar at the combine talking, trying to talk to teams, because he's his own rep, and so I'm sure he could do that, or you know, um, and so I just think that I wish it was just something that it was so easy to do. And obviously, there's a sticking point. Somebody is saying I want this, and the other person is saying no. And so we're gonna have to see where it goes. But do you think the owners are colluding against Lamar? Now this has been the firestorm, because we blackety black, we're all things black. Okay. Do you think that the owners are colluding against Lamar?
I'll just say this, and let me not shy away from it, because last week I absolutely said it when we talked about it
Right.
earlier this week on the broadcast. I
Mm-hmm.
absolutely said that they are, and I've posted that they are. But let me just say it like this: Atlanta Falcons went after Deshaun Watson and didn't get him.
Mm-hmm.
You got a chance at Lamar Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
The Miami Dolphins have questions about Tua, but they decided they're not going to do it, and they decided to re-sign Tua.
Mm-hmm.
The Carolina Panthers could have given up 2 first-round picks
True.
to jump into the Lamar Jackson sweepstakes.
Right.
They decided to give up 4 and a wide receiver.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
I- listen,
True.
I'm not I'm not saying that they are colluding, but I present you with the evidence. You come to your own conclusions. I'm just
They doing something in it.
I mean, man, it's just
They doing something. It rhymes with contusion, and
exactly. Exactly. But now here's the thing. So what I do understand is a lot of these teams could be waiting till after the draft, because that first round pick that you have to give up is this year's pick.
right.
And if you wait till after the draft, some of the teams that don't have a first round pick, you can wait till after the draft. And I think Miami is in that situation. So let me pull Miami
Well,
back
Miami
from that.
does. Yeah, Miami doesn't have a first round this year
Right. So
because of
once the
Deshaun
draft is
Watson.
over, then they can negotiate with Lamar, and because they can offer next year's first round pick. So, maybe some teams are waiting till after the draft. Maybe they're waiting to see how the rest of their roster shapes out.
Right.
You know what I mean? Maybe they're doing all of that. Then they're going to go after Lamar. So it's definitely not over. But to just publicly come out and say, like, why? Like, why are you giving us this information? Why are you coming out publicly right now, the day he gets the tag, and say, "Oh, we're not going after him"? Like, why? That's information no one really needed to
Yeah.
know. I
Yeah.
mean, because if you do start negotiating with him, then you just look like you're alive. Like, it's like the owners against Lamar's wishes. You know what I mean? I don't want to say against Lamar, but against his contract negotiations. Now, I will also say this. And you said, did Lamar make the right decision? That franchise tag, that non-exclusive, is giving him what, 35 million this season?
32. 32.
32. Danny Dimes just signed for 40 million this season. There's absolutely no way Lamar Jackson is going to play for the Ravens for less than what Danny Dimes has signed for this year. There's absolutely no way. And if he does, I'm going to be upset with him. There's no way you take the field playing for less. Now, does that mean if no one offers you anything, the Ravens going to have to put that offer back on the table? I'm sure they will. They're going to have to negotiate with him again. But you can't play for less than Danny Dimes after you play for less than Danny Dimes on your rookie contract if that's what it dictated. But
Sure.
after he just signed the contract, there's no way you play for less than him. No way. No way.
Well, he's going to have to do something because if he does not sign that franchise offer by, like you said, week 10,
Week 10.
and he sits out the whole season, then the Ravens can franchise him again next year. And so it
Right.
still does not give him his freedom. And so they're going to have to come to something. And we're going to talk about that in a minute. Yeah, I think the owners have made a formal meeting and talk about it because they have meetings and we don't know
They
about
were
it.
all at the
Did they have
combine.
did they have a meeting and say, look, we got nobody go after Lamar because just us talking. Don't nobody go after Lamar, and we can't have these guaranteed contracts. Possibly, there's a strong possibility that happened. Um, I think that when the owners get their mind to it that okay, we've got to control a trend that's happening in the league, and we got to unite in terms of what we do. They always seem to pull it together. Uh, Free agency, they long, and then the cost of contracts, coming up with a salary cap, and being able to keep your players, coming up with franchise tag. They've always come up control salary or control player movement when they've wanted to. And so I definitely believe that there is a idea that hey, why should we do all this work to do an offer for Lamar, do all this work for the Ravens? Because I believe the Ravens have effectively put it out there in their interpretation, crying, we going at Lamar's pace. We love Lamar. I text Lamar all the time. And so the Ravens have put it out there that, like, hey, look, whatever y'all gonna do, we're gonna match it. So why are we gonna do this work? Because all the Ravens are gonna do is just go, oh, okay, that's a good number, boom, boom, boom. Because we're not gonna give a guarantee. And so the best we can give, this is the best. If the Ravens see it, they're gonna go, oh, okay, that's the best two we can do. Bam. And so I think we're going to see an offer because next Wednesday they can start making offers and Lamar can start talking to teams. And so I think, you're always going to have a team or two that's going to take a swing.
A rogue team, a
Yeah, a
team that's
road
going
team.
to go
Yeah,
against the grain.
you're always going to have a team that goes. As a matter of fact, let's talk about this. Which teams do you think these road teams are going to make an offer?
The Washington Commanders, number one. Well, they're in such a state of influx with their owner. But
That's
if
the
if
only thing I'm concerned about too. It's
yeah,
like
if they
that
if they didn't have all the issues going on with Dan Snyder, they would
they
absolutely
would be in on
be
it.
going after Lamar. They would not care what anyone said. So I would have said Jerry Jones because there's always been a question about how he feels
Oh
about
wow.
Dak Prescott.
Okay.
Always been a question about that. I wouldn't be surprised if it, at any time Jerry Jones didn't say you want to trade me Lamar for Dak. I would do it. I
Right.
wouldn't be surprised. It's always he comes out publicly and says he likes him, but there's always been a question about
Mhm.
how he feels about Dak Prescott. I definitely think the Dolphins may be in the running. You get a Lamar Jackson on the field with Tyreek and Jalen Waddle and Mostert. We talked about Aaron Rodgers there. Think about getting Lamar Jackson there. That makes them immediate contenders. Um, I don't see why the Jets wouldn't want to. So the only rogue team for me would be I got one more rogue team. So the Dolphins, the Commanders, and the only other rogue team would be the goddamn San Francisco 49ers. I don't believe they have a first round pick, so they
They don't.
also have to wait till after the draft.
Mhm.
Can you imagine Lamar Jackson with McCaffrey, with Debo, with
Kittle.
Kyle Shanahan, and that defense? Come
And you didn't say nothing about Kittle. Oh my
on.
God.
I've got completely forgot about Come on. Come on.
Yeah, that would be really, really, really. But if they don't let Purdy go ahead and play, white people gonna lose their mind because they already
I
giving
don't
Purdy the job when he don't necessarily deserve it. Purdy, only reason why Purdy played was because both of your starters got injured. That's the only reason why Purdy got on the field.
and I think if you're trading for a Lamar Jackson, I think the fans would get over that.
You
It
think
would
they
be
gonna get
different
over
if it
that?
yeah, if it's Lamar Jackson, they get over it. If it was just anybody random, then yeah, they would be upset. But I think they would be like Purdy for Lamar Jackson. I will take that all day. If you put that on Madden, your percentage of getting that trade is 100%. You will get if you're the 49ers, you might not get Jackson,
Bet you they
but
take a poll of the regular fan. They'd be like, "No, we love Brock Purdy.
they don't love him
Brock
that
Purdy
much.
almost got. If he didn't hurt his arm in that playoff game against the Eagles, we would have been in the Super Bowl."
They don't love him that much. Lamar Jackson, come on, a
Then when people
25-year-old
hear this, said
MVP.
Trace McSorley should have been starting over Lamar.
That's because Baltimore, we're so spoiled with our team. Like we
Bro,
just, I just,
bro,
I
come
don't
on
know.
now. There was more Trace McSorley's jerseys at the game
What
than
once
there was
again, Ravens
football.
fans, one more time, Lamar Jackson is by far the best quarterback the organization has ever had. There's no one even close. Joe
I agree.
Flacco won the Super Bowl. Trent Dilfer won a Super Bowl. They're still not on
Yeah,
Lamar's level.
I agree.
It's not
I agree.
even close.
I agree. I would say if I these are the teams that I had listed: the Colts, the Texans, the Falcons. Now that the Panthers made that trade, I take them off the list. Raiders I had on the list, but they really don't have any. They can't even fire their coach because they can't pay him the buyout, and so I'm not quite sure if they have the money or the picks to want to do that. I have the Commanders on the list. I think if like I agree with you, if Snyder was not the owner and Jeff Bezos was the owner, because I know Jeff
Oh,
Bezos wants to buy that team.
Jeff Bezos and Jay-Z. Oh,
Yeah. Oh my God. It would have. Yeah. Jay-Z would have been like, "It's no more time for kneeling. Come on over here.
When
Come
when can
on,
they
Lamar."
Lamar can start negotiating on Wednesday, I think it is,
Yeah.
right? He
Yeah.
can
On
start
Wednesday.
on
We would
Wednesday
have been
after
right and
exactly
beyond it,
Wednesday
just like this.
afternoon, we would be seeing a tweet from Lamar Jackson just like that.
Just
Like,
like
are
this.
you kidding
With a
me?
chain talking about it's chaining day.
You would see an Amazon truck go up to M&T Bank Stadium, and they be or down to the training facility, and they be throwing Lamar stuff in there to deliver to DC. What? Are you kidding me? That shit would be Amazon prime.
Yeah. I mean, I think Wednesday. I mean, I think Lamar is gonna get an offer too. You got to kick the top. If you're the Colts, You
You
got to kick the
have to.
tires. If you're the Texans, you got 2 first-round picks this season. That you got the second, 10th, or the 11th pick. You got 2 first rounds, and and that's all the
So
compensation you got to give up.
and now the question is with that, if any team does try, does Lamar want to go to that team? So Lamar also has to agree to this contract
Well, yeah, I mean,
and sign. So do you think he will want to go to the Texans? See, I don't think he will want to go to a team like the Texans, the Colts. You go
yeah,
to the Colts,
that's
you're
the
kind of
thing.
going
You're
to
starting
you go
over. If
to
you're
the
going to the Texans,
yeah,
you're going to the Colts. You're
yeah.
not. You're not a playoff
You're
contender.
not improving on what you already have.
Right.
So those things
The
now.
Jets would be interesting.
The Jets would be interesting. Washington would be interesting. A lot of
Falcons
teams
too.
would be. Oh, the Falcons would
Atlanta.
absolutely
A lot.
be
All the
interesting.
talk is about Atlanta. Atlanta could do this. They could here. Um, but it's going to come down to how much they can guarantee, how much money they're going to give, and I think that's going to be the sticking point for Atlanta. And also that's another situation outside. Name a starting receiver on Atlanta.
Well, no, you got the rookie boy. He was a rookie last year, and then you got Kyle Pitts. He'll be the third year
Okay,
tight end there. That should
Kyle
have
Pitt,
been a
rookie boy.
superstar. But what's the rookie boy? He was a rookie last year. Jeez, not
Exactly.
Olave. Olave.
No,
Who'd you say?
no, I said exactly.
Yeah, you're right. That
Exactly.
I did just make your point, didn't I?
Exactly. What I
But
said.
they
Who's
do
who's the
have
running back?
that another rookie boy. But
Exactly.
you still got my guy Cordell. Cordell's still up in there.
Yeah,
Old
Cordell's there, but
old
Cordell
Cordell
older
is
than
still there.
I don't know. He could last a whole season, and so
But no, Atlanta
yeah,
actually has a pretty decent offense. They just need
they
a
have a
quarterback.
decent offense. The defense played well. I mean, but there's no names on that team. I mean, they just got a bunch of guys. They don't have no dudes, and
But
so
these guys are nice young rookies. I think he could take it. Well, let me back up. The one thing that makes Atlanta attractive is not necessarily just the players, but it's also the division. The NFC South is there for the taking. We talked about it
sure,
earlier with David
sure.
Carr. So it's just there for the taking. He could go there and dominate. He wouldn't have to worry about Bengals twice a year, Steelers
Mm-hmm,
twice a year, upcoming Browns twice a year. You wouldn't
mm-hmm.
have to worry about those teams. You go down there, you're playing a Tampa Bay team without a quarterback, a Carolina team that's clearly in rebuild mode, a Saints team that now has Derek Carr, but he's much better than Carr. So,
Mm-hmm.
just that's really your only competition.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll see, but I do think a team is going to somebody's going to have to make an
Someone's
offer.
going to have to, if they don't, there's going to be some investigation by
Right.
the Players Association.
Somebody
If
will throw out
no
something,
one, yeah,
and
someone
I
has
don't
to.
think it'll be a deal that he wants to take. Yeah, somebody had to do
Hope,
something.
hopefully not. Well, no, actually, I want him to take a deal
To
because I
leave
don't
his
want him
franchise.
to have to play under the franchise tag. I want him to take a deal so the Ravens can match it. I just want him to be a Raven, but I need him to take a deal and I need the Ravens to match that deal. You know what I mean? So I want him
Mm-hmm.
to take it. I don't want him to sit out until week 10. I don't want, I want
Right.
him
You
to
don't miss
want
him
to be a
training camp.
Raven.
You want him in there. You want him
Exactly.
at the yeah. I'm with you. And
Exactly.
so, what are the chances now that we're here? What are the chances that you think he's going to return, and what are the chances you think he's
I have two answers.
gone? Mm-hmm.
My head says the chances of him willingly playing for the Ravens again are my head says it's 50-50. I really
Okay.
can't call it.
Okay.
My heart
Mm-hmm.
says it's zero. I
Well,
if and I'll be very honest. If I were in Lamar's camp, I would literally say to him, if you under the rules, if you have to go back to the team, but get out of Baltimore, man. Just get out of there. Like, go somewhere that not only does the organization, but the fans just really, really want you. Because one of the things that really kills me, and it has to kill him if he goes online under any media website with his name on it, the fans just hate Lamar Jackson. Now, when you're looking at things, the negative is always going to stick out. So I'm sure most of the fans want Lamar Jackson to stay, but the ones that don't, it gets so personal. Like, get your mama out of your negotiations, or you aren't that
Mm-hmm.
good anyway. Like, we don't need you. And it's just stuff like, man, all this guy has done is played well, stayed loyal, stayed out of trouble, which is a big deal. I just love Baltimore. And now that he's in negotiation, y'all want to vilify that man. Negotiations are negotiations. It's a business, and it gets ugly sometimes. But if I was in this camp, I would probably tell him to try to go somewhere else. Demand a trade if you can.
I think it's a 60% chance he's gone. If I think one or two things. I think if he gets a great offer sheet and the Ravens like that compensation coming from it, I think they go ahead and don't sign. I think, they go ahead and say, go ahead, give us the compensation. I think if they don't get and this is going to have to be done before the draft. Now, after the draft, leading, if they get a great offer with a great package for him, I think they take it. And I think it has to be a knockdown package with players, with picks, and because they value picks just more than probably
They
any other
value
team.
picks,
They value
man.
picks. I think this is the first season they did not get any comp picks. They don't have a second rounder because they traded that for Roquan Smith,
And
and
EDC
so
whined about that
yeah,
in the
he
press
they were
conference.
upset
Good
about the not having the
gracious.
picks, and so you know 60%. There's a 60% chance that if they get a great opportunity, the haul, the return is good for them. They're going to go ahead and take the haul and move on. And the Hall's also got to give them an opportunity to get the quarterback for the future. And so that's why I think they want to see what happens before the draft because there are at least 4 or 5 quarterbacks in this draft that they can take, sit a year, work on, and then we might get a transition quarterback. Hello, Baker Mayfield. We might start seeing a lot of progressive commercials here in
I'm,
Baltimore.
I'm
So
if we get Baker Mayfield, I'm gonna have to eat so much crow because I have been on Baker Mayfield's
hello,
bum
Baker.
ass.
Baker gonna be dancing like
Gosh,
You talk about scramble, Coke scramble. He gonna be dancing
we
hard.
Baltimore. I mean, we don't draft quarterbacks very well, with the exception of Lamar. And I guess Flacco was a successful draft, but
Mm-hmm.
we seem to like them Heisman Trophy
We
winning
do.
quarterbacks.
We
We
love him.
what we have? What's the boy from Ohio State? Troy Smith.
Yeah, Troy
Troy
Smith,
Smith. We had
RG3.
RG3, Lamar. Like, and if we
Yeah.
get Baker Mayfield,
And
jeez,
we even had Mark Ingram in the backfield. Remember they had
we
the all
did.
Heisman backfield one place, so
We
we even had
did.
Mark Ingram here. So yeah, we love Heisman's here. And so yeah, I think that puts a pin in it about Lamar. And so we just have to wait and see. It's a wait and see game. I agree with you, Calvin. I would hope to see something resolved before the draft. Because after we get after the draft, it's just it's going to drag on, and so hopefully we see something happen before the draft. And I want them back. I mean, the Jackson
Yes.
5 touchdown game against the Rams, the bathroom game against the Browns, where
Listen, the
he goes,
bathroom game has to be, well, it was an
yeah,
instant classic
yeah,
on
on
TV,
ESPN,
but
uh
I
huh,
mean that is one of the most we were losing. He came out from the bathroom and threw the winning touchdown.
yes,
Like, come on, man. Come on,
yeah,
Baltimore. What are
yeah.
y'all
So
doing?
come on,
Stop,
man,
stop hating on this guy.
breaking ankles, yeah. So Lamar, you could be out of a game, but having Lamar Jackson gives you the immediate opportunity to be in any game,
Absolutely.
any
That's the
day.
one thing we seem to forget.
Amen.
We were never,
Never
ever
out of a
out
game.
of any games. If you look at the stats from last
Hmm.
year, the games that we started losing were all within one score. And a
Hmm.
lot of those times we had to stop them. It was the
Yeah.
defense. It wasn't the offense that failed,
Well,
it was the defense. So,
J.K. said it. If we had Lamar, we win. If we had Lamar in
oh,
that playoff game,
that
we
playoff
win.
game. it's an easy win.
It's an easy
The way
win.
the defense was playing,
Yeah,
it was an easy win.
yeah. So, let's go ahead. There's sports going on. I'm sure people know. And so let's talk a little bit of basketball
There
for a
are
minute.
other sports.
There are
Basketball
other
playing?
sports. Yeah, basketball's playing. They're in the season. So your boy John Morant, he's about to fumble the bag. Memphis Grizzlies point guard John Morant will not play in at least the next 4 games after his Instagram live video in which he displayed what appeared to be a gun while at a nightclub early Saturday morning. Why I don't know. Prompting an investigation from the NBA. Morant's video came in wake of a Washington Post story published last week on Wednesday detailing 2 incidences Morant this summer that resulted in police reports but no arrest. In the second incident, according to the police interviews obtained by the Post, a 17-year-old boy alleged Morant emerged from his house with a gun in his waist and his hand on the weapon after a fight between the boy and Morant during a pickup basketball game in the Grizzlies point guard's backyard. The other incident was a confrontation with a mall security guard in a parking lot. I believe his mother had some type of confrontation and she called her son to the mall. I didn't even know people still go to malls to confront the security guard. And so we've seen this before. We've heard this story before, man. The young guy, he's in the league, he's got the money, he's got the fame, but he does kind of knucklehead stuff. And what's your thoughts about your boy Ja and his he's not in Iverson territory, definitely. you know, and to be honest, as an adult, Iverson never went to jail or anything. He was only put in jail as a youth because of racial incident in Hampton. I could say Hampton University because I went to Hampton, but in Hampton, Virginia. And so everybody knows that was racial as opposed to a law that he broke because most people say he didn't even throw the chair.
The
And
only
so
one that went to jail out of
the
all those
only
people.
person that went to jail out of everyone that was involved in that incident. And so, what do you think about this with Ja and this road that he's traveling down?
So Isaiah Washington, some years ago, I believe when they were doing the movie with when he was doing the movie with Jen Lopez and George Clooney, which by the way is a great movie, and I can't remember the name of the goddamn
Hmm.
movie. An amazing movie. Jeez, I can't. It's 2 words anyway, but it's a great
Hmm.
movie. George Clooney was a con that broke out of jail, and Jennifer Lopez
Yeah,
was
yeah,
chasing
yeah,
him.
yeah, yeah,
Then
yeah,
they
yeah.
then
Oh
they
my
fell
God,
in
yeah. Don
then they
Cheadle's in
fell in
it.
love.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can't remember.
Um, so right around that time, Isaiah Washington started talking about how these rappers are starting to take all the acting jobs. And over the years, we've heard that rappers want to be actors, actors want to be rappers. Then we started getting to musicians want to be athletes, athletes
Hmm.
want to be musicians. And now it looks like gang members want to be athletes and athletes want to be gang members. It's
Hmm.
like, what is going on with these young guys? But I guess it's part of the time. My only problem with Ja, well, not my only problem. One of my problems with Ja is number one, you are since Zion Williams can't stay healthy a full
Right.
season, Ja Morant is the most exciting player in the NBA. Like I don't even probably the most exciting player that we've had in the last few years. Now, if you value the Steph 3 point, that's a different thing. But I mean, as far as
Hmm.
just explosiveness and all,
Hmm.
John Morant, without question. But, sir, if you have to pull a gun, you're a grown man. If you have to pull a gun out on a 17-year-old
Right.
because of a pickup basketball game, it's not a gang you need to join. You need to hire some bodyguards because clearly you cannot fight. Or you're not willing to get beat up. It's something going on. Like that should tell you right there. Like
Hmm.
I'm too soft for that kind of life. Like what are you doing? And mom,
And dad.
most parents, if my mother got into it at a store, do you think she would call me unless somebody put their hands on her? You
Right.
think she would call me? Because she know I would come up there and it's the point of no return. As soon as I walk out the door, it's the point of
Right.
no return. So why are you even putting your son in that type of a position to lose everything because you're in an argument over whatever sneakers or whatever it was. She was
Hmm.
in what, like a Foot Locker or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah. It was a finish line.
yeah, it's just what is going on? And dad, are you not the dad anymore? Like he makes the most money, but you're the breadwinner. I think there's some really bad decisions being made in his family. You expect his camp to make really bad decisions because that's what young people do. They all make bad decisions unless you can get the one in there that's like, nah, you need to stop doing that. But everybody doesn't have that. But your family should be making better decisions for you. I just think it's just you're young, but some of these decisions a lot of times when you're young, you do things like you drunk drive, and if you're not killing anyone, you get a ticket and all. You can recover from that. You pulling out guns. You pulling out guns on a team plane. Now they're investigating you because you shouldn't have had the gun in Denver. You know what I mean? It's just
Right.
like, sir, you got to chill. You're literally playing with your career, and it's just getting off the ground. So it's just
Yeah. I
disappointing.
think there comes a point in time, Calvin, where you just have to grow up. You have to realize that you're not promised to have this career forever. You're not promised to have you've had generational changing wealth come into your life through basketball. And you're not promised to have that forever. That stuff can be taken away just as soon as you got it, it can go just that quickly. And I think you have maturing and making better decisions. You know, to, oh well, you got to clear out your camp, you got to move the people. No, it comes a point in time where you just have to grow up, where you have to think: is decision? Am I doing the right things? Am I saying the right things? And you have to live by that. You're a professional now, and that's what happens. We're seeing with a lot of players who I know that the old veterans back in the 80s, they got a lot of flack because they're always hating on the younger players and they were in getting this rule pass 1 year college before coming in the league and all that stuff. And they were saying, this was hating on the young people and stuff like that. But I think it's something underlining there that we really don't discuss, and that's the maturity of the people coming into the league. They're coming in more coddled, less life experience, coming in and their lives being changed overnight, and they're not really at a point of being mature enough to make these decisions, or they're making bad decisions. Um, people are like, oh, he needs this person to mentor him. No, Ja, ahead, start decisions. No, to come mentor you. No, you don't need this other person to come mentor you. No, you probably have the capacity inside of you to do it. Tap into that. Realize that this is my job. They were talking about, I read an article, one of his teammates was saying that, look, y'all partying too hard on the road. You're out here, you're not professional. We have to in doing things because we're trying to, and we can't win a championship burning the candle at both ends. And then the next day, this Instagram video pops up with him in a strip club. Why you got a gun in the strip club? What, you thought the strippers gonna get you?
Why? Bomani said, "Why you got your shirt off, bro? Ain't that what they
Yeah, bro.
supposed to do?
Ain't that what they
Uh,
supposed to
they supposed to do."
What you doing, homie? And so that's what I'm saying, Cal. It's like I always tell my children. Sometimes I laugh because they'll go out on a weeknight and they'll be out late and come and the guy get up at like 6 or something in the morning to get ready for work. I'm like, look, I know you're young, but you can't burn the candles at both ends. You got a job. Job is the priority. You have to have this is your career. This is what's going to sustain you. And so you need to learn how to rest, how to bring it in and make the proper decisions. There's times for everything under the sun. And I think Morant needs to understand that. And hopefully these couple days away will help him understand that. I mean, I didn't think that the Grizzlies were a championship level team anyway. They're
Well,
definitely way
well, they
better with
were,
him.
yeah, but they were weren't they number two in the West? They were number two in the
No,
West when
they're
this.
four in the West.
Now, I think they're forward now. Weren't they two in the West when this all came out?
They may have been two or three. I know they were battling with the Sacramento Kings for
Okay.
that.
Sacramento was 2. You're
Yeah.
absolutely right.
I know they
Sacramento
were
was 2.
battling with Sacramento for that.
Sacramento
And
was 2.
so the right now they're like 4 or 5. And so I think they got four. They're over the Golden State Warriors who can't win on the road. And I talked too much about them last week because then your Lakers went out and promptly beat them on Sunday without LeBron.
7 out of the last 9. I told you my Lakers
Yeah.
would come. But
Yeah.
anyway,
Yeah. Anyway, we're not talking about the
back
Lakers
to
right now.
back to Ja. But no, everything you were saying,
So
that's why I
yeah.
said for me, it's about his family. Like mom and dad, what are you doing? Are you along for the ride or are you helping to steer the
Right.
car during the ride?
You
Because just
staying with
like you
them.
said, you talk to your daughters, what are you doing, dad? What are you doing, mom? Y'all aren't helping. Y'all aren't
Mm-mm.
helping this.
Dad
And
too
it's
busy
just
out here looking like Usher, having people think he Usher. Busting with
yeah, man.
Shannon
It's
Sharp,
just
with Uncle Shay Shay.
but I agree with you. You don't need a mentor. You need to grow up. Your family should be helping you grow
Grow
up.
up.
And this is actually slapping your guy prime time in the face or whatever you call them now. Because didn't prime
Yeah.
time say they look for
Prime. I look
they
for
they
two
look
parent
for
household. I
two
was
parent
gonna bring that
household?
up because I didn't want to get
I
Prime said that.
mean, what's
Look for
going
two
on,
parent.
prime? And he the point guard, which would be like your
The
quarterback.
leader, the
I
leader, the
mean,
face of the franchise.
okay, I'll leave it alone.
Hey man, they say that God is love, but I don't think God loves CP. Um, the Phoenix Suns, Kevin Durant is expected to miss 2 to 3 weeks because of left ankle injury. Sources told ESPN. Adrian Wojnarowski on Thursday, the team said in a release that Durant has a left ankle sprain and will be reevaluated in 3 weeks. And so, it's just every time it looks like CP3 is on his way to winning the championship, God says no. The sports gods say no, 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 no. You're not. Does this damper the Suns' championship chances?
So, and for the record, I'm not laughing at Kevin Durant being injured. I'm laughing because of CP3. And
Great performance.
also I'm laughing at Garland because Garland is quick to call my guy AD. Always talking about it.
Street clothes.
Yeah, quick to call the street. Then what's Kevin Durant?
Gym
Because he ain't
clothes.
gym clothes. He ain't gym clothes. He ain't gym clothes. Hospital robe. What is
Hospital
he?
ankle
What is
boot.
he? Hey man, y'all stop talking about AD because KD gets hurt just as much as AD. So stop talking. Leave my guy
Ankle
alone.
boot.
But no, does it? It absolutely impacts the Suns. Now the Suns are going to make the playoffs. The Suns are still a good team without Kevin Durant, but with Kevin Durant, they are a championship level team. I do think he'll be able to come back. As long as they advance. I guess it depends on who's their draw in the playoffs, and as long as they advance, KD can come back and still lead them to a ring. But yeah, this is definitely going to be. I don't want to say a struggle because he hasn't been there that long, so they can just go back to what they were doing. Now, of course, they traded some pieces away to get him, but they're just going to have to fill in those small areas. But they can go back to what they were doing just to maintain. And they need to do really is last the end of the regular season, which they will do, still making the playoffs, and then possibly just get past the first round and get him back after that.
Yeah, as the way that the standings are now, we could see a first round Suns versus the Warriors. That would be very good.
But you gotta
Very
have
good.
KD. You can't have Suns
Yeah.
Warriors without KD. That I need the NBA to do some of that because the NBA be cheating. I need them to do some of that cheating so they don't play each other in the first round. Somehow let them meet in the second round
Um,
so KD can be on it. You can't have a Suns Warriors playoffs without KD in there. You absolutely cannot.
we'll
You
see if
can't.
he comes back. Oh, and that Clooney Lopez movie was out of
Out of
sound, out of
sight.
sight,
Out of
out of
sight.
sight,
Out of
out of
sight.
sight,
That's it.
out of sight,
That's
out
it.
of sight. Yeah, that was a good movie. Yeah, when Isaiah he had Tuffy. So
He
Tuffy
had
was a
Tuffy.
mean bitch.
He had Tuffy, and Jennifer Lopez took that nightstick out and tore his
Right.
ass up. That's a great movie. Everybody,
That's a great movie.
make
That's a
sure
great
you see
movie.
that movie.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, we'll see what happens. But yeah, CP3, man, I pay your tithes. I don't know what's going on with it.
Not pay your tithes.
I'm grasping at straws. I don't know what's going on. Hey man, your boy Rayman was raining bullets, and so allegedly, former NBA All Star Sean Rayman Kemp was released from jail in connection to a drive-by shooting in Tacoma, Washington this week. The shooting came, the shooting call came into police just before 2 p.m. on Wednesday. Shots were fired from a passing vehicle in the parking lot on the northeast side of the mall near a courtesy tire store. And police said nobody was hurt in the shooting, and sources close to Kemp told the local media that he had tracked his iPhone to a suspect shot at him, and he fired back in self-defense. Kemp is he's been retired for more news, not just for his on the court exploits, but off the court as well, because I believe it's he has at least 20 kids or something. The room somewhere around or kids with players with a lot of kids in the from the league. And Sean Kemp, I think he had won that. Although he never won a dunk contest, he won the contest of parenting the most kids.
Oh, he was. Oh, he won the dunk contest. All right.
Yeah, he was dunking.
He was dunking.
And so, what was the game for you? And I will say for people who never saw Sean Kemp in his, it was kind of like the Zion in terms of in people first started dunk, where it was like something in game action. Because I remember when I was young, growing, everybody loved Dr. J dunking, but as I knew that could dunk, we had to clear the court and let them run and make an attempt. From being by yourself and dunking to actually dunking on people, like in the course of a game, like in a regular play, driving baseline and just jumping up and dunking on two people and stuff like that, or catching alley oops. And I think Kemp was the first one, for my memory, that used to have these top 10 in-game crazy dunks.
If so I look at Kemp as like Dominique Wilkins of his generation. If
Dominique
Dominique,
Wilkins,
yeah,
who wanted to stop booping on people like that too. You're right.
if Dominique didn't have the name the human highlight reel, that would definitely be for Sean Kemp. So for those of you that never saw Sean Kemp play, he was a nasty dunker.
Yeah.
Me and my cousin Brian, Sean Kemp was one of our favorite players. We called him Freak Nasty because after he dunked, he always did something a little freaky on you, whether he was grinding or just looking at you. One of the things that I remember most about him, and I still do this, not after a dunk, but after I do something I think is real cool. He did a dunk in the All-Star in the dunk contest. And I don't even remember what the dunk was, but when he finished, he took his hand, banged here, went around his waist, banged, and then did a little pump gyrate on you, like I was like, yo, Freak Nasty. Yo, Sean Kemp, if you never listen, let me tell you something. That Sean Kemp, Gary Payton combination was deadly in Seattle. Now they didn't win much of anything. They made the playoffs. They were a good team. So he'll get lost in history like he's probably is now. But if you watched him, you knew Sean Kemp was there. Like Sean Kemp. And his story to the NBA is actually a good story. I believe he was janitor. They picked him up in the pickup game, and then they were like, we need to get you on the court.
He went to Kentucky, and he was there. He got dismissed from the team from allegedly stealing the gold chain of the coach's son out of his locker. So he wound up going to a junior college, college, and yeah, he had a good run in Seattle. They made it to a finals against Jordan. I think this was the second three-peat run when they played Jordan and them in the finals. And Jordan when he was clowning the glove about his defense, and stuff. And there was a rumor that Kemp almost ended up on that Bulls team because Jerry Krause wanted to trade Scottie Pippen to
Scottie Pippen
Seattle
for him.
for him,
Yeah.
and so there was a almost trade that never happened. That he possibly could have won a title with retire, and I think he retired after the end of that run and last championship for them.
You say
Yeah,
he
he had a deep
retired. He was tired after making all them babies during his
right.
NBA career. He
Well,
didn't
you know, Kemp.
retire.
Oh, I was
He
talking.
was. Oh, okay. I thought you meant Kemp.
Kemp had to keep on playing because he had child support. So Kemp, I think he ended his career in Cleveland. He
He
actually
did.
ended up on the Cavaliers. He
He
ended
did
his
play
career.
until he was a big dude like me.
He was he ate his
was,
way out the league. By the time he finished, he was not that skinny guy that was dunking on everybody. He was
he was
kind of just
clearly
going
playing.
layups.
He was clearly playing for them child support checks. He was not
And
playing
he
for
had that
anything
funny
else.
haircut where it wasn't quite a Gumby, but it had like hair right here in the front of his head. It wasn't a Gumby, but it was like a slope, like a skateboard would come off of it, like at a skateboard park, and you would jump off of the little hoop. I don't know what you would call it, but it was I don't know who his barber was. But anyway, so yeah, let's see what happened with our boy Sean Kemp. Come on, man. People out here with these guns. And
I think
so
he they're not filing charges. I think they're
yeah, they
letting it
haven't
go
filed
as
charges against him
self-defense.
yet.
Yeah. So
I hope what back was important, man. You know, it wasn't just an iPhone or something. Like, I got my phone.
you never know what's in that phone, man.
Right.
People
Right.
will go to the grave for some of them things in the phone. Hey y'all, stop that. Stop
Yeah.
doing shit you ain't supposed to do and you ain't gotta worry about. If my phone gets stolen, I'm gonna admit that it'll be tough. I'll be lost for a while, but I can replace it and I'll just download the thing. I'm not really Let me move on, man.
Yeah, yeah. For the people who are not gonna see this, I just had my iPhone in the shot. Come on, yo. So we're at the point of the show that everybody loves and all. I think you started last week. I'll go ahead and start off this week.
Okay.
This it's not well, it's a different type of come on, yo. So come on, yo, March Madness. Now, March Madness season is upon us, and that means it's time to care about college basketball. I have to be honest with our listening audience. I think I may have watched maybe 2 games this year from start to finish. And those games drove me crazy because the level of the play was so uneven. The college game, it mirrors the NBA game a lot in that it's all 3 pointers and dunks. A lot of people doing a lot of dribbling, as my man Fab says on Instagram. There's a lot of Pat Riley going on, but no shots. Just the level of play, I think it's because the talent is not as great as it used to be. The college game is just not interesting anymore. And I'm a sports fan. I'll watch anything. Now, quick, name the top 5 college teams this year.
I only know Alabama is one of them because all the controversy they have with their
Yeah,
star
that's the only
player.
reason.
North Carolina used to be, but they fell off because the 2 players that were their stars were fighting over one chick that was a cheer that was played on the women's team. Hold
Yeah.
on. I'm gonna keep going.
Okay, so we got one, Alabama.
Um, oh man,
Alabama. I,
cause
eh, bro, I
I
ain't
don't
gonna
know.
lie to you. Purdue, maybe, and it might have been maybe one or other teams, but I can't even name the best player. Who's the best player in college right now outside of that Brandon Miller kid? And
Yeah,
I
I
don't
don't know.
really know. And so I remember when college basketball was exciting. You know, I remember living and dying with the University of Maryland men's team when they had players like Albert King and Buck Williams and Ernie
Ooh,
Graham
going
and
way back,
Adrian Branch and Lim Bias. Man, Dutch Morley, Reggie Jackson, don't make Ben Coleman. Don't make
way
me
back.
keep on Greg Manning. Come on,
I started
son.
I started in the Derek Lewis
You
era,
started, yeah, I
the
was gonna say
Len
Derek
Bias
Lewis.
Derek Lewis era. That's where I
Yeah,
started.
come on, man. And so Juan Dixon, you know, I watched the game. I remember Calvin watching the game with bias when he gave UNC their first loss at the Dean Center when he stole that inbound pass and dunked it backwards on Warren Martin. I remember watching a young Magic Johnson battle a unknown Larry Bird in the championship game that pushed the sport into the national spotlight. I think I was like maybe in the ninth or 10th grade. I remember when the Houston Cougars, they played Louisville in the Final Four in a game that had 13 Showtime dunks. I mean, that was a dunk fest. And that's when dunking started to elevate from just, one guy by himself, they dunking on people. And so maybe now it's because the best players only stay one season or they bypass college altogether. That has made the game less. But I don't know what they need to do to work it out. I don't know if it's making it a thing where you can really get paid from it. We have NIL and you have the transfer portal, and but it's still bringing some instability to the game overall itself. And so um, I'm going to do March Madness this year. It's fun to do it. I'm just going to be picking randomly because I really don't know these teams. I really don't know who's the best team. I'm probably going to just be picking off of names of colleges that I've known in the past as opposed to how they're performing now. But, come on, yo. We got to do something about the college game because now it's really not relevant anymore. I think the football college game stays relevant because you have to stay at least 2 years, sometimes three, in order to go to the NFL. But the one and done for the college game is definitely shifted because a lot of people are going G League now, and some of the best players are not even coming out of America; they're coming out of Europe. Like Big Victor, Big Frenchie, he's coming over. He's out of France, and so come on, yo, March Madness. Somebody help me out with my picks. Tell me what I should pick because I'm really trying to win this money. I'm trying to get all the money. I'm trying to get all the money.
Hey man, it's funny you mentioned that because I sat in our break room the other day when the conference tournaments were on. So and I started just watching them, and I was really just looking for Big Ten because that's what Maryland is. That's
Right.
all I
That's where
really care
Maryland
about.
is.
So I was just watching a random one, and I was felt the same way. I was like, dang, I don't even really know what's going on in college basketball anymore. Now, the last college year that I paid at least semi attention to was the Ja Morant year.
Yeah.
That
Zion
that
Williamson was at Duke as well.
yeah, that
Mhm.
tournament exactly. Zion Williams and all that tournament season. You know there were a lot
Yeah.
of big
A
names you were
lot of big
paying
names.
attention to, but since then I haven't really paid attention much, and I don't know why. I was trying to figure out in my own read why am I not paying attention? Because I used to love college basketball.
Me
Big
too.
Mondays with Dick
Yeah.
Vitale, the
Yeah.
ACC Big Ten challenges.
Right.
I used to love Big East challenge, ACC Big East
Hmm.
challenge. I used to love all of that, and I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. Now I'm thinking that I'll do like I usually do when the actual tournament starts, when the dance starts, I'll start watching late games, just to
Hmm.
at least cut it on. Games start at 9, 10 o'clock just to cut it on and see some upsets. You always look forward to that. But yeah, I agree with you, man. They gotta do
Yeah.
something. And please help me too, because I'm in my job pool. I can pick up the $5 a pool, and I need now the women's pool is a little easier
Right.
because with the women, you can kind of go with the
Right.
favorites until
You
you
can
get
go
to
with
the
you can
end.
go
Yeah,
South
yeah,
Carolina. Just go ahead,
yeah.
take South Carolina, Tennessee, UConn, and you're gonna be.
I'm gonna throw Maryland in there. I think Maryland might make some noise.
I don't know. She
Depending on the
always
draw.
Feast
But
always fumbles the bag.
they do, they do,
Yeah,
they do. But they're
yeah.
always in it. But they
They're
do always
always
seem to
at it.
fumble it back.
Fumble that
They're
bag.
always in it. So my come on yo is going to be slightly different. I generally do my come on yos on sports, but I'm not going to do sports today. I'm going to talk about the love of my life, my wife. Let me tell you something. Back in the 80s, really the 80s, mid to late 80s, going into the 90s, if you're from our area, which is we're from Baltimore, so it's not the DMV, but the DMV is down the street,
Yeah,
and a little bit past the DMV is King's Dominion. And back
yeah.
then in the mid to late 80s, early
That's where I grew
90s,
up.
you would go to King's Dominion with your little boo thing, and y'all would dress alike. Y'all would wear the
Mm-hmm.
same clothes down to the sneakers and the socks, just
Mm-hmm.
dress alike.
Yeah, man.
I have been trying to get my wife to dress alike with me since we've met, and she never want to do it. The closest we come is to a Ravens game is when we have on the same jersey,
Right.
but she just will not do it. Now we do have a pair of the same Ravens sneakers, so but I don't always wear mine because I got a couple pairs of sneakers I wear mine. But she will not conform. Yesterday, I go in the bathroom to get ready for work. And I see in the trash can that she threw her electric toothbrush away. And I was like, oh man, her toothbrush must have broken. And then I look on the by her sink, and she has the exact same toothbrush that I have. Come on, yo. I told her, I see you. I'm going to start as soon as this is over. I'm going out and I am looking for gear for us because the summer is coming and we about to come on, yo. Come on, girl. You finally gave in. And she
Right.
just looking at me like I did not. She said, I ain't even know that was your electric toothbrush. I'm the first sink when you come in the bathroom. So you can't help but see the tooth. You've been seeing it every day. You know that's my come on, yo. You want to dress like me, don't you? You know, finally gave it. Yo, I can't wait, Garland. When you see us this spring and summer, we gonna be rocking all the same gear, same colors and everything. I can't wait. As soon as this is over, I'm running to the store and buying us some. I can't wait, bro. I can't wait. We gonna look like we employees at a fast food restaurant as much as we gonna dress alike. I can. Come on, yo. Come on, girl. You know you love me. I love you too. It's coming. Twinsies. Twinsies. Come on now.
Bro.
Hey, if y'all
She
see
did
us
that
out,
too. My wife must be like, yeah, because she tried to when we were young. She used to try to have us matching up. I was the one that I was like the Katina mode. I was like, I wasn't really too into it and stuff, but yeah. So yeah, that's gonna be the summer look.
son, it's over. It's over. You see me, you see her. How they say, you see me, you see her. You see her, you see me. It's over. The shit is over. It's on lock.
Y'all know Cal the wine festivals over the weekend starting in this late.
We
Make sure you
we
check their outfits.
we
Check
are
their
in March. I cannot wait. So
fit.
excited. Hey man, another great podcast. If
Yeah,
you don't
bro.
know, and I'm sure you don't know because I haven't said it yet, but we are now live on YouTube with the podcast, and then I'll send the podcast out to
YouTube,
all
not YouTube. YouTube. We are in
you
YouTube.
YEW
Yeah, exactly.
tube
You YouTube.
YouTube. Then it'll go out to all the other platforms once we
Exactly.
finish and it downloads. So you'll have it on Spotify. Anchor isn't even Anchor no more. Anchor is called Spotify for podcasters. They changed the name
What?
of it. Yeah, man. It'll be on there. It'll be on Amazon Podcast. It'll be on uh Apple Podcasts. It'll be everywhere. Also,
Okay.
we'll have our broadcast coming on Tuesdays where we talk about BMF, and we just started talking about Snowfall. We threw the Chris Rockin special last week, so if you haven't seen
Yeah.
it, go ahead and look at
Interesting.
it, hear our opinions on there.
Mhm.
But yeah, we thank you for joining us. We definitely want you to rate us, review us, engage with us, tell your friends about us. Again, join the YouTube channel
Dress
that
like
is the YouTube channel and the Facebook group is All Things Black with Garland and Calvin. If you want to follow us on Instagram and follow us on Twitter, it is ATBWGALN. ANDC. That stands for All Things Black with Garland and Calvin. So make sure you follow us and engage with us. So Calvin. That's my guy, Garland. Me and him ain't dressing alike, but I don't know though. I don't know though. You get Paula. All four of us can dress alike, son.
Hey, I might pull it off. I might pull it off.
We will look like the basketball team minus AD or KD because one of them stay hurt. Will just be the starting four. Hey, thanks for joining us.
Get Sean Kemp to be on the team too.
Nah, because he might be trying to have some babies or whatever. But anyway, thank you for joining us. We will talk to you.
You have been listening to Fanboys, an All Things Black with Garland and Calvin production. Thank you for listening, and make sure to rate and review this episode on all of your podcast platforms.